Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic.
Something. How rude of us. Kakashi said, grinning at the couple on the floor. Hanabi, what or why you doing? Hinata stuttered, as she stared at her sister in disbelief, her face going red with anger. Naruto was hers and she'll be damned if she let anyone take him from her. What does it look like I'm doing? Hanabi said, pulling herself off of Naruto. Sakura, Kakashi, and the two guards took a step away from Hinata as a feeling of murderous intent rolled off of the girl. Naruto got up and grinned at them saying, "It isn't what it looked like. She just wanted me to take a shot." Sakura pointed a finger at him and asked, "Well, if you were supposedly taking a shot, where is the needle?" Hanabi rolled her eyes and held up the needle for everyone to see. Kakashi nodded his head at Sakura and said, "Okay, if that's what you want us to believe, we'll believe you." Naruto eyed Kakashi suspiciously and asked, "Are you trying to imply that I'm lying, Kakashi-sensei?" Kakashi smirked and said, "I'm not implying anything, just saying that you want us to believe what you said." Naruto replied, "I'm not lying. I'll tell you exactly what happened." Shut up. Hanabi interrupted, "Can't you see he's just trying to get you to say something?" "Aha!" Sakura shouted, "So there was something going on in here." "No, there wasn't." Hanabi snapped. "Looks like you're hiding something from us, Hanabi." Kakashi teased. "I'm not hiding anything, damn it." Hanabi shouted. "Well, that's what it sounds like," Sakura said. Kakashi raised his visible eyebrow at Hanabi. "Naruto, are you sure you two weren't doing anything like last night?" Kakashi asked. Sakura eyed Kakashi incredulously and said, "Wait a minute, they were doing something last night." "Exactly what was it?" Kakashi grinned and replied, "You mean he didn't tell you?" "Well, I'm shocked. You see, Sakura, I was on patrol last night and I just happened to meet these two under a tree. It seems like they were about to get busy. If you know what I mean." Hinata's hands turned into fists, as she stared at her sister. Sakura looked at Naruto in disbelief. "How come you didn't tell me about that?" "Unbelievable. I could use a drink." "It wasn't like that either. It was an accident. Kakashi-sensei, I hope you die a slow miserable death," Naruto said. "I'm telling them how I saw it." Kakashi said, "Didn't I tell you to the next time you want to express your love to one another to get a room?" "We are in a room." Naruto snapped. "I mean, it wasn't like that. So you two were about to get busy on the floor," Sakura said accusingly. "No, we weren't. I would never dream of doing anything like that," Naruto shouted, pointing at Hanabi. "I have better taste." "Excuse me," Hanabi shouted, looking at Naruto. Naruto turned toward her and said, "I wouldn't. Who would be desperate enough to do something like you?" Hanabi replied sharply. Naruto ignored her comment and looked back at Kakashi saying, "Besides, she was coming on to me. I would never. I'm not that desperate. Do I like Hinata to you?" Hanabi shouted at him. Everyone inside the room, except Hanabi and Hinata, winced. Naruto looked at her accusingly. "Don't try to lie. You did come on to me to try to get me to take the needle." It wasn't. I only did that because you forced me to," Hanabi said. Naruto let out a laugh and said, "I forced you. I was trying to get away from you. You were the one who pinned me to the ground and tried to rip off my shirt." Hanabi was speechless. He had her there. Kakashi had quietly summoned a video camera and started recording. Damn. He was going to enjoy every moment of this. Sakura stared at Hanabi and said, "I don't know which one of you to believe. I really need a drink." Hanabi glared at Naruto and let out a frustrated yell. "I really dislike you." Naruto looked at her and asked, "Do I look like I give a damn?" Hanabi walked closer to Naruto and whispered to him malevolently, "This isn't over. I'm going to hunt you down and then slowly kill you. You better watch out from now on." Naruto shivered and took a step away from her. You won't find me. Hanabi laughed maliciously and said out loud, I have my ways of finding people, and I just might be waiting for you under your bed tonight. An eerie silence abruptly fell into the room. Then all of a sudden, Hinata let out a howl of rage and tackled Hanabi, sending her into the wall. Naruto let out a yelp as Hinata shoved him out of the way to get towards Hanabi. The two Anbu guards started toward Hinata, to restrain her, but stopped when Kakashi put a hand in front of them saying, Not yet, I want this on tape. The two guards hesitantly nodded. Naruto was about to hold Hinata down, but stopped when Sakura tackled him to the ground saying that it was between Hinata and her sister and if he got into it he would be seriously injured. Naruto stopped struggling and allowed Sakura to drag him out of the way of the two fighting Hyuga. Hanabi got up and stared at her sister in rage. She ran toward Hinata and delivered a sweet backhand slap to her face sending her to the ground. Hinata let out a yell and kicked her sister in the ankle making her fall onto the ground. She then pounced on top of Hanabi, giving her a fury of slaps and scratches. Hanabi tried to push Hinata off of her but it wasn't working. So she kneed Hinata in the stomach, causing Hinata to clutch her stomach in pain. Hanabi seized the chance and rolled from under Hinata. She then got up and aimed a kick towards Hinata's head but missed. Hinata jumped up and punched Hanabi in the face, causing her to stumble backwards a little bit, and then did a roundhouse kick into one of Hanabi's ribs. Hinata followed up the roundhouse kick with a powerful kick in the chest sending Hanabi forcefully into the wall. Hanabi coughed up a little blood and spat on the floor. Her stomach was hurting like hell and she was sure she broke something. But it only fueled her anger more. Hanabi pushed herself off the wall and head-butted Hinata in the stomach, making Hinata double over on the floor, clutching her stomach again. As Hinata started to get up again, Hanabi punched her in her back causing her to fall flat on the floor. Kakashi grinned toward the two Anbu, who were enjoying the catfight, and said, and you were going to stop them. The two Anbu shrugged and started to cheer for Hanabi and/or Hinata. Sakura and Naruto were into much shock at Hinata to notice Kakashi recording the fight and the two guards cheering on. Was this the sweet, shy and innocent Hinata they knew? What happened to the timid girl with the stutter and extreme lack of confidence? Do you know how long I wanted to do this? Do you, bitch? Hanabi shouted as she grabbed Hinata's hair. Yay verbal violence. Get your fucking hands out my hair whore. Hinata shouted at her sister. Make me. Hanabi shouted back. Hanabi then pulled Hinata up by her hair and slammed her face back down to the ground. Hinata tried to make a grab for Hanabi, but was out of her reach. Still holding her hair, Hanabi picked up her sister and rammed her into Tsunade's desk. Hinata slid to the floor and tried to roll away but Hanabi wasn't done yet. Anbu guard number 1. Yeah. Sweet. Aim for the chest. Anbu guard number 2. Woo. Bitch slap her. Damn. They should have been fighting in the rain. Hanabi pulled on her sister's hair causing her to yelp. She then pulled up head up so Hinata was looking in Hanabi's face. Blood was slowly trickling down from a cut on Hinata's head. Good, you're bleeding. Now this shouldn't hurt. Hanabi said mockingly, picking up Hinata by her hair again. Hanabi then punched Hinata on the nose and threw her forcefully into the wall. Hinata felt pain shoot through her face as she wiped the blood that was threatening to go into her eyes. She was sure something was broken in her stomach as it hurt for her to move. Hinata launched herself toward her sister saying, "You're the biggest whore I know." Hanabi ducked and made a grab towards Hinata's leg but Hinata saw her hand and grabbed it. Hinata then twisted her sister's hand forcefully, breaking it. Hanabi let out a scream as she kicked Hinata in the thigh. Hinata took the kick and grabbed onto Hanabi's hair. Payback time. Hinata shouted as she sent Hanabi into the desk. Hinata picked her sister up by her hair again. Hanabi then head-butted Hinata in the nose, causing blood to flow out. Hinata staggered back a little bit. Hanabi, using her good hand, slapped Hinata and grabbed onto her hair. Hinata held a hand to her nose, in an effort to stop the bleeding, and used her other to pull on Hanabi's hair. Hinata then sent a chakra-enforced kick into Hanabi's stomach, causing Hanabi to cough up a mouthful of blood and let go of Hinata's hair. Hinata smirked as she sent the final blow to Hanabi's stomach, sending her forcefully into the wall, spewing up blood as she went. Naruto was awakened out of his daze as he watched Hanabi slam into the wall, cough up blood and slowly slide down to the floor. He then shook Sakura so she could have gotten up out of her daze. Hinata slowly made her way towards her sister's semi-conscious body. Her head was killing her, her nose broken, and probably her ribs were busted, but she didn't care. She was angry as hell, and the thought of her giving her sister what she thought as requital for coming onto Naruto, you know, if you take out the to that would sound so wrong, just made her feel excited. Ignoring the killer pain in her stomach and head, and fueled by rage, Hinata took out a kunai from her pocket and rushed toward Hanabi, ready to make a clean cut through her throat. Hanabi saw Hinata rushing towards her with the kunai and tried to move but couldn't. Her body was in so much pain that it just went numb and refused to budge. Hanabi shut her eyes as Hinata approached with the kunai, ready to strike. Hanabi waited for the kunai to make contact with her body, but it didn't. She cracked open one eye to see Naruto holding back a struggling Hinata, frowning at her. Hanabi let out a sigh of relief. She was going to be alright. At least that's what she thought before Hinata sneaked a leg around Naruto and kicked Hanabi in the head, knocking her out cold. Naruto, who was suddenly angry at Hinata for some reason, flung her on the ground and went to Hanabi's aid. Just looking at Hanabi told Naruto that she needed medically attention. Naruto gave Hinata a cold look before running out the door with Hanabi in his arms. Hinata got up to follow after Naruto, but stumbled and fell unconscious due to the head wound that was decreasing the amount of blood going to her head. Sakura had managed to catch her before she fell to the floor. Giving Hinata a look over, Sakura motioned for Kakashi to come help her. She needs medical attention. I haven't learned how to deal with head wounds yet. I'll meet you in the emergency room at the hospital. I'm going to go ahead of you and notify the charge nurse on the situation, Sakura said. And with that, Sakura ran out of the door as fast as she could. Kakashi picked up Hinata and turned to the two guards saying, I'm taking her to the hospital. Just clean up the blood stains before Tsunade comes back. I'll deal with the rest later. I would help you, but as you can see my hands are full. I'll repay you back some way. The two guards opened their mouths to protest, but Kakashi was already out the door. Damn, one of them said. I should have figured he'd dump this on us. Oh well, the other said. Let's get this done quick. I don't want to be around when she comes back and sees her office in a bigger mess than she left it. The other guard shuddered and they both went to work. Naruto uncomfortably sat in a broom closet that served as an interrogation room. When he had entered the hospital with Hanabi in his arms, shouting that he needed a medic ninja immediately, the nurse sitting at the desk screamed for security. And in less than 10 seconds, Hanabi was in a stretcher and was being shuttled to the operating room while Naruto found himself on the floor. The guards had bound his hands and feet with rope and carried him to the head of the security department, who threw him in a dimly lit broom closet. And so Naruto uncomfortably sat in the chair, waiting for someone to come and cut him loose. The door opened and a lanky brunette came inside, cut him loose and told him he was free to go. It's about time, Naruto said, rubbing his wrist. The brunette smiled at him and said, we usually keep people in here for at least 18 hours before we get around to questioning them. You're lucky. Naruto shuddered. He was about to ask the lady something else, but he remembered about Hanabi and bolted out the room, heading to the front desk to ask the nurse about Hanabi and give her a piece of his mind. Kakashi walked out of the emergency room feeling quite happy with himself. Sakura had met him at the door with a stretcher for Hinata and had taken her behind the big white double doors. He had promised to come back and check up on her later. Yeah, right. He took out the latest book in the Aika Aika Paradise series and began reading. He was so close to the scene between the doctor and the nurse. Kakashi was so deep in reading the book that he wasn't paying attention to where he was going and bumped into someone. Sorry, He started, not quite looking at the person. I wasn't watching where I was going. And you're still not watching where you're going, you perv. Kakashi took his eye off of the book and turned around to see Iruka grinning back at him. Oh goody. Just the person he wanted to see. What you been up to? Iruka asked him. Oh, nothing much. Just watching to young ninja duke it out in Tsunade's office. Was she there? Kakashi shook his head. Oh, I wanted to ask her how long my vacation is. Iruka said. Kakashi grinned at him and said, oh, I know all about your vacation. Iruka gave Kakashi a questioningly look. Kakashi grinned even more. You mean she didn't tell you? Oh, very well, I'll tell you. Your vacation belongs to me. Iruka let out a laugh and asked, seriously? Seriously? Kakashi replied. Iruka stared at him incredulously and asked, what do you mean it belongs to you? It means it belongs to me. You see, dearie, Tsunade was bored and she asked me to a game of poker. I won and she lost. In other words, the stakes were where and how you spend your vacation. Iruka let out a feverish laugh and asked, you mean she betted my vacation? Kakashi nodded and said, guess who gets to become my roommate for one entire week? Iruka laughed and said, last time I checked you only had one bedroom. Kakashi replied, I still do have that one bedroom. But don't worry, I don't mind sharing. Wink wink, the one bedroom. Iruka blushed and let out an exasperated laugh. I don't believe you. Even if it's true, I'm going to seal myself inside my house so I can't come out. Kakashi laughed and replied, I don't mind. I'll just come to your house instead. Kakashi then left a speechless Iruka standing on the sidewalk. What the hell happened to my office? An enraged Tsunade asked Shizune. I don't know, Shizune replied. Tsunade walked through her office. It was more of a mess than she had left it. Is that a blood stain? Tsunade asked her. Sure enough, there was a smudge of blood on her carpet. What the hell happened to my desk? Tsunade stood over her desk that was leaning on the floor, one side of it broken. Shizune carefully backed away from Tsunade. The woman had a temper and right now she didn't want it focused on her. Shizune. Tsunade shouted. Get me Uzumaki Naruto and Hyuga Hanabi right damn now. Now Tsunade-sama, let's not do anything rash. You don't know if they did this or not. Shizune reasoned. I don't care. I want the IRES over my fireplace. Calm down, Tsunade. Besides, you don't have a fireplace. Shizune said. Shizune realized she said the wrong thing when Tsunade picked up the broken piece of the desk and turned toward her. Grinning out of anger, Tsunade shouted, Shizune, your head is mine. Shizune let out a squeal as she bolted out the room, Tsunade heavy on her tail shouting at people to get out of her way while knocking things down with the broken piece of desk in her hand. The two guards crept out from behind the door. I'm going to feel sorry for Naruto, Shizune, and that Hyuga when she catches them, one of the guards said. It's sad though, they're getting blamed for the desk we broke. The other stated, hey, at least she won't know it was us. And the two guards walked off. In the gardens of the Hyuga estate. Hiyashi, what's wrong? One of the elders asked. I just have this strange feeling that someone is coming to give me a lot of grief and a bad headache. Hiyashi replied, frowning. I doubt it. Today has been too peaceful and quiet for any problems. The elder replied. That's the reason for the feeling. It's been too peaceful, Hiyashi stated. Maybe it's because none of your daughters are home, the elder said. Really? Hiyashi said. I hadn't noticed. I wonder what they're up to, the elder said. Hanada's most likely training with her team and Hanabi's avoiding her punishment, Hiyashi stated. The elder laughed and Hiyashi raised an eyebrow. I'm just remembering when Hanada told me Hanabi was spoilt because she never got punished. Hanada told you that? Hiyashi asked, shocked. He always thought that his eldest daughter was too timid to approach any elder. Hiyashi-sama. Hiyashi and the elder turned around to see a Hyuga guard approaching them with a grim expression on his face. Hiyashi turned to the elder and said, I told you someone was coming to give me grief. The elder chuckled and went back to sit down as Hiyashi went to talk to the guard. Naruto slightly opened the door that led to Hanabi's room. He hated hospitals. From the overly sterile white floors to the horrible pudding they made you eat. But yet, he was always in here every month. He stuck his hand in the door and waved it around to see if Hanabi was awake. He didn't want to wake her if she was sleeping. Naruto was about to close the door and go visit Hinata, but stopped when a hoarse voice told him he can come in. Naruto stepped inside to see Hanabi staring down in a cup filled with pudding, trying to stir it around with a plastic spoon. Naruto sat in the chair next to Hanabi's bed and watched her. It was kind of funny watching a person with a broken hand trying so hard to stir a cup of pudding. Why are you here? Hanabi asked, looking at him now. Naruto shrugged and said, I don't know. I just thought I'd come and see if you were still alive. Hinata did beat the shit out of you. Hanabi frowned at him and replied, you came just to rub it in, didn't you? No. Then why are you here? Didn't you say you dislike most Hyuga, including me? Why don't you go visit Hinata? Hanabi said annoyingly. Naruto got up and walked to the window. He honestly didn't know why he was here. Maybe it was the caring in his personality that made him come. He wished he could have come up with some excuse. Naruto turned around and studied the girl in the bed. Unusually pale, a broken hand, bandaged head, back propped up against pillows. Naruto grinned at her and said, you remind of me when I'm in here. The only difference is that you're more ethereal. Hanabi scowled at him and said, can you be any more insulting? Maybe. Sorry, I meant to say I didn't mean to sound insulting. Naruto said apologetically. Naruto sneaked a glance at Hanabi. She was staring into the cup of pudding, as if she was trying to make up her mind on something. Naruto sat back on the chair and waited for Hanabi to say something. After about 5 minutes or so, Hanabi whispered, thanks. Naruto awkwardly nodded his head and turned his attention toward the cup in her hand, still not sure what to say. After some serious consideration, Naruto decided he would pay Hinata a visit and come back later when he knew what to say. Naruto was about to go close the door behind him, but stopped when Hanabi called him. He stuck his head back in the door and asked, you want something? Hanabi looked at him somberly and asked, why? Naruto replied by giving her a puzzled look. Why did you help me? Why did you come back? Hanabi asked. Naruto gave her a slight smile and said, I'll tell you why when I find the answer myself. He then closed the door behind him and left Hanabi to muse about it. Naruto sighed and made his way towards Hinata's room. He was hoping that someone else would be there with him so she wouldn't ask him any awkward questions. He wanted to make this as quick as possible. He would pop in, ask if she was okay and disappear. He would ask why she did that to her sister later. Naruto approached Hinata's door. Taking a deep breath, he knocked on the door and waited for an answer. Are you going in or not? You're wasting valuable space. A voice coolly said behind him. Naruto froze. He knew that voice very well and hated the person it belonged to. Naruto turned around and stepped to the side to see Hiyashi Hyuga giving him a look of disapproval. Naruto returned the gesture by giving the man a look of antipathy. He really hated the man and his hands itched to punch him in the face. Why are you here? Don't you have enough people at your estate to scare? Naruto asked as calmly and coolly as he could. He didn't want the Hyuga to know he got under his skin. It's none of your business. And obviously I'm here to check on my daughter. Hiyashi replied grimly. Naruto his head to the side and in a sarcastic, mocking manner replied, oh my gosh. He does have a heart. Hiyashi took a deep breath, trying to maintain his composure. Of all the people in the village, Hinata chose this one as a friend. How he yearned to beat the hell out of the boy. At one point in time, Hiyashi was thinking of having the boy assassinated. But as he had thought about it more, he realized that it was hopeless. The boy had been protected by every Hokage in the village from the third and up, including the two Sannin. Hiyashi ignored the comment, rudely shoved past Naruto and made his way down the hall Naruto had emerged from. Where are you going? Hinata's room is right here. Naruto asked him somewhat perplexed. Hiyashi calmly replied, I know her room is there, you abomination. She isn't my only daughter. Besides, I might admit you into the hospital myself if I am to be in the same room with you. Naruto laughed and retorted, you wish you could, hag woman. Hiyashi disregarded Naruto and proceeded towards Hanabi's room. Hinata quickly turned her head when she realized she was gazing at Naruto instead of the door. She was so caught up in her thoughts that she didn't notice when he opened the door. Should I come back later? Naruto cheerily asked, hoping she said yes. No, why, you can stay, Hinata heard herself say. She didn't have the heart to tell him go. Besides, she was lonely. Her only company was the nurse who gave her medicine, and she didn't even like her. She had a creepy cackle and a sinister hairstyle that terrified Hinata. You feel okay? Naruto asked, wanting to clear things up with Hinata before anything else awkward happened. The quicker he explained what really had happened, the quicker he could leave and resume his life. He wouldn't even be in here if it wasn't for Sakura. He would have used Jiraiya's tactic to avoid and evade. Then he wouldn't have to talk to Hinata at all. Of course he suggested this to Sakura, but she was like, Naruto, how can you be so selfish? Think of how Hinata must feel. Now go upstairs and talk to her. So here he was, confronting with this gauche problem. I only came to see how you were doing and to explain what really happened between me and Hanabi in Tsunade's office. Naruto said, getting straight to the point and making himself comfortable in a chair next to Hinata's bed. Hinata let out a sigh of relief and said, oh. I thought you came to ask me why I attacked Hanabi. Naruto shook his head and replied, whatever grudge you have against your sister is none of my business. Oh, okay, Hinata whispered, face red from embarrassment. Anyway, what had happened was, Naruto started, Granny Tsunade left Hanabi a note stating that she makes sure I take the needle, but I didn't want to. I started running away because Hanabi was chasing me with the needle, but I tripped over a flower pot and Hanabi tripped over the same flower pot and fell right on top of me. Naruto paused to take a breath and Hinata motioned for him to continue, figuring there was more to it than that. After a few seconds of putting his thoughts together, Naruto continued, we started struggling on the floor and by some amazing feat, she pinned me to the floor. And then she, did something and I couldn't move, so she took advantage of the moment and stick me with the needle. And that's when you guys came in. Naruto nervously nodded the inside of his cheek, hoping Hinata wouldn't ask any question about it. You're still not mad at us, right? Naruto asked anxiously. Us? Hinata asked, puzzled. Yeah, me and Hanabi. Naruto stated. I'm not mad at you. Hinata answered, trying not to sound pissed. Where the hell did me and Hanabi come from? That floozy already has him saying their name as if they're an item. I have to stop this madness before she crosses the line. Hinata thought as her grip tightened on the bedrail. So we're cool, right? Naruto asked, professing a smile. Hinata smiled at him and replied, yeah, we're cool. But I thought you were mad at me because I attacked Hanabi. Why did you think I was mad at you for that? Naruto asked, clearly baffled. You kind of gave me a cold look before you left. Hinata replied, staring down into her lap. Naruto placed one hand beneath Hinata's chin and gently raised her head so she was looking in his face. Naruto smiled at her and said, I didn't mean anything behind it. I guess I was just a little mad that you attacked her. She was just trying to shut me up. That little bitch has him defending her now. Oh, now she has crossed the line. Hinata thought. Naruto let his hand fall to his side when he saw hate and anger flashed in her eyes for a second. I mean, she did provoke you. But I'm not mad at you. Naruto hastily added. Hinata muttered something and started cracking her knuckles. Is that a new habit? Because it's creepy watching you do it. Naruto thought as he took a step back. Well, Naruto started, Sakura's waiting on me, so I better get going. Naruto started